Good morning, Champaign-Urbana, and welcome to the 2014 Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade. My name's Colin DeCair, and I will be your host, bringing you the sights and sounds of this great Champaign County tradition, now in its 65th year. Leading things off, as always, is our police escort. And it's a great tradition, a great sign. Seeing these folks means it's just about parade time and the festivities are set to begin. Prior to broadcast, the Exchange Club was handing out flags for kids, a great program where they go around giving all of our littler spectators in attendance a small flag to wave in celebration of their country. Glad to have them as always. And following the police is our American Legion Post 24 Color Guard. This is their 62nd year in the parade, spanning almost our entire length of existence. Color Guard is made up of volunteers from all of the Legion family members. And following up the color guard bearing those great colors of this great country is the DAV and VFW 5520 Transportation by First Students. Classic school bus that all of us have had the privilege of riding at one point in time. And quickly following them is the Champaign County Freedom Celebration having a ball float. This is one of the first times we've actually had a helium float in our fine parade here. Glad to have all the volunteers. We made sure that all of them were able to hold it down. No kids, keep them from getting carried away. And following them up is the Gold Star families supporting our troops. Gold Star families are those of us who have lost a loved one in a time of war. As a Gold Star family, we find it very important to thank each and every veteran who has served our country and has given us the freedom that we enjoy every day. And we certainly do thank them for all that they have sacrificed. It's because of them that we're able to celebrate what we enjoy every single day. And following them up in the classic automobile is CCFC President Chris Bell. He's been on the committee for nearly a decade and has done a great job, and we are happy to have him as president. And following up Chris is our first marching band of the day. It is the Blue Ridge Marching Knights. Let's stop and take a listen. Hailing from Farmer City, we are always happy to have our local high school marching bands join us on our day of celebration. And happy that the Blue Ridge Marching Knights could make their way out. And following up the Marching Knights is our Champaign County Fair Queen. She'll be riding in the festively colored red Mustang, Miss Julianne Wallace. Glad to have her in the parade. Following her is the Champaign-Urbana Marine Corps League 1-2-3-1 and the Illini Young Marines. And that'll bring us to the Grand Marshal of our parade, Miss Sue Gray. She is performing as the Grand Marshal on behalf of the United Way. This year's event is, of course, our theme is, of course, celebrating community volunteers, and United Way is celebrating their 90th year in existence and making an impact on their community. And honestly, can't think of a better representative for this year's theme. Our Grand Marshal is followed up by our United Way float. Again, the United Way focuses on improving education, health, and financial stability and community basics. United Way is a volunteer-led organization which saw over 250 volunteers last year. Their slogan, give, advocate, volunteer, live united. And as a volunteer organization ourselves, CCFC is very happy that they decided to accept our offer as Grand Marshal of our 65th parade. And following them is going to be the Wishes on Wheels, another great program that provides children with an illness the wish of their choice, such as Disney. This is their 20th year in existence, and they cover a 50-mile radius. Following them is a truck from Security Finance, decked out in some red, white, and blue streamers, a good color choice, especially today. Following them up is the Urbana Business Association, the organization responsible, of course, for bringing us the Urbana Sweet Corn Festival. Corny the mascot definitely enjoying his ride on top of the convertible. Looks like he's having fun. Sweet Corn Festival will be coming your way later this August. And following them is the CU Kiwanis Challenger League. Since 1998, the Kiwanis have provided the opportunity for physically and mentally challenged youth to play a game of baseball. a great pastime that everyone should get to enjoy. Following them up is the Life is for Everyone float. And quickly following them is the CCFC Gold Sponsor float, America the Beautiful. Our gold sponsors, Carl, CUMTD, News Talk 1400, WDWSAM, Light Rock 97.5 FM, Stevie J Broadcasting. Always glad to have them, and some servicemen in our parade as always. Following our first gold sponsor float, we have our first animal float. It is in fact the Wells Fargo Home Mortgage Float, horse-drawn carriage. A living symbol of the American spirit, the Wells Fargo Stagecoach. Of course, handing out the ribbons behind the Wells Fargo Stagecoach are local Wells Fargo's employees, their friends, and families. Behind Wells Fargo is the Hicks Gas Soft Water Van. And we'd also like to take this time to thank our platinum level sponsors, Busey Bank, the Illinois Lottery, and the News Gazette. Support and generosity is always a great help in making sure we can put on a great celebration for everyone in the community. Following the Wells Fargo float is Don Gerard, Mayor of the City of Champaign. Always great to have our local politicians involved in the parade. Joining just behind him today are other members of the City of Champaign City Council. And approaching behind them is the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District. Of course, CUMTD is the main provider of mass transit for the Champaign-Urbana area. Again, having their vintage bus. Always cool seeing what used to be used as a regular transportation. And the fan favorite, the minibus. Don't know how many people that's going to hold or how many people it can run, but it's fun anyways. Serving behind CUMTD is, of course, our first look at the Illinois Shriners. Always gotta love the little cars. A festive favorite no matter where you're at. Also look like they have some special guests of their own. Winnie the Pooh, Shrek. Is, of course, the Illini Shrine Club. Here comes our good buddy Snoopy with them as well, and Lilo. I apologize, Stitch. And following the mini cars and mini bikes is the 1956 Cadillac Flower Car. The Shriners, of course, support 22 children's hospitals in North America. They put focus on treating birth defects regardless of the ability to pay. A great service to the community, and we're happy to have them. Following the flower cars, of course, the tractor lineup from the Illini Shriners Club. Shriners have been part of the Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade for 50 years now. And it's been 50 great years of keeping us all entertained. And following the Shriners is our WDWS, WHMS, WKIO van. Of course, walking behind them is the wonderful team that those organizations share with you every day through all your different radio listening needs. Approaching behind them is the Gifford Fire Department Field Fire Truck. This is the newest truck in their fleet. It has a high flotation tires for running through mud, front mount joystick controlled turret gun for putting out fires while still in the truck. Up next is our CCFC Float Silver sponsor. That is, of course, the Sesame Street Float with Buddy Elmo on board, as well as several local children from Champaign-Urbana. Our silver sponsors we'd like to thank: Benefit Planning Consultants, Chambana Sales, the Champaign Park District, Champaign Telephone Company, City of Champaign, the City of Urbana, Flex and Gate, Kemper Industrial, Midwest Potty House Incorporated, Reynolds Towing Service, Southern and Central Illinois Laborers and Employers, the University of Illinois, the Varsity Stripping and Construction Company, Village of Savoy, WICD TV, and Warden Martin Incorporated. Of course, some other members of our CCFC driving by in the golf cart, helping keep people entertained while we have our first cold air balloon on its way to the forefront of the camera. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this gentleman, but he is a very special guest all the way from Sesame Street. A little bit bigger than our buddy Elmo that was just shown. Have you figured out who it is? That's right, folks, it is Ernie. And Ernie, of course, is the cold air balloon brought to us by a platinum sponsor, the News Gazette. This cold air balloon is brought to us by Dynamic Displays all the way from Michigan. And we'd like to thank our volunteers for helping Ernie make his way down the street and help him duck and avoid the trees. He is, of course, 30 feet tall, a little bit taller than your average person. Again, thanks to all the volunteers who helped make today possible. CCFC is 100% operated by volunteers. We could not do it without you. And following Ernie is the U of I Employees Credit Union. The credit union is over 80 years old with a focus on one member at a time. Following them is our second marching band of the day, the Centennial Marching Band. Of course, our first band from Champaign-Urbana, immediately locally. Glad to have them. As traditional parades go, the color guard is leading the way in front of the band, swirling and keeping spectators entertained with the school colors. Glad to have them. And let's go ahead and take a pause as the drum major comes into view. And let's listen to some American pastime songs from the Centennial Marching Band. Probably would have found ourselves in a few more parades to help entertain fans that way. And following the marching chargers is the B Company 634 BSB family. This is, of course, the family readiness group that supports the B Company 634th Maintenance National Guard Unit in Champaign, Illinois. The unit has 83 members and has supported state active duty for Hurricane Katrina and just recently assisted IDOT during the winter storms in January of 2014. We, of course, are getting a couple different Army trucks, a little unusual vehicles that you probably don't see every day. And following the B Company is the Urbana Fire Department. A couple beautiful fire engines from the Urbana Fire Rescue Team. Local children riding along inside waving their flags, showing support of their country. Glad to have them. Good thing it's not too hot, otherwise they probably have to get on top and start hosing everyone down with the water just to keep them cool. Coming into view now is the HMD Academy of Taekwondo. The HMD Academy of Taekwondo has been teaching martial arts in the Champaign-Urbana area for 40 years. They like to celebrate our freedom and express themselves. The adult students are marching in front, with the younger students following behind on their bicycles. HMD has taught thousands of martial artists over their 40-year history. And they've grown to teach in every surrounding. Coming into view following that HMD Taekwondo display from the youngsters is the American Intangible Cultural Heritage. It is, of course, a state of Illinois nonprofit funded in 2009. Its purpose being to document and educate and perform uniquely American arts, passing them on to the next generation. This is their 4th year in our lovely parade. Behind them is the active Senior Republicans of Champaign County. Of course, they are bringing in both antique and new automobiles that pretty much most of us would love to drive at any point in time. Local laborers union quickly following them up. Behind them is the Savoy Fire Department. Savoy Ladder 461 is a 2007 Pierce Wash. It has a 100-foot tower ladder. Established in 1956, the Savoy Fire Department currently has 45 members that provide EMS, fire rescue, and hazmat protection. Following them up is the Wings of Wonder. Wings of Wonder is an avian rescue that is based out of Muhammad. This nonprofit rescue provides a safe home to abused and unwanted exotic birds, many of which are on the float for the enjoyment of everyone in attendance. Behind them, dancing up a storm, is the Stevens Family YMCA. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do hear Village People's YMCA in the background. Glad to see everyone getting into it, having a good time. The Y has flourished since its creation in 1854 with the help of volunteers. Without thousands of volunteers throughout those years, the work the Y has done would not have been possible. And they'd also like to show their gratitude to everyone and help celebrate our community volunteers. Behind them is Kristen Williamson. Kristen is running for the Illinois House of Representatives to bring an innovative service and effective representation to Champaign-Urbana. Kristen's kicking it in the streets, but she does still have a nice Corvette, bringing up the rear. Coming behind Chrisman is Katie Blakeman's old-time Model T Ford, I believe. I may be incorrect about the model, but is definitely an antique car. Glad to see those in our parade as well. And bringing up Kristen Williamson's float is the Friends of Joe Petrie, I apologize. Joe Petrie will be running for mayor in Champaign in the April of 2015. Joe's friends are, of course, driving around in scooters that were contributed by Tom Dillevo. This is Joe's first parade entry. And it is, of course, operated and occupied by friends and family, as well as supporters of Joe's effort. Following them up is the Urbana Girls Softball. Urbana Girls Softball plays in the Oka. Organized in 1996 to give girls in Urbana a place to play competitive softball. We have all different age levels of teams. And I even see a tiger mascot in the background. Luckily for that tiger with all that hair, it is a nice, beautiful 75 degrees. I definitely would not have envied him a couple years back when we broke 100. Behind them is the Eastern Prairie Fire Department. It's the Eastern Prairie Fire Protection District. Enjoying another fire engine is always nice. And coming up, we have our next marching band entry into the 65th annual Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade. It is the Georgetown Ridge Farm High School marching band. Glad to have GRF joining us. Let's go ahead, stop, take a listen, and see what these young students have in store for us. again like to thank the Thunder and Buffs for joining us, entertaining us with that awesome drum cadence. Following up GRF is, of course, the Daily Bread Soup Kitchen. Their float consists of their weekend food van, which is a cargo van with the logo and name on it, which is, of course, food pickup and delivery for those that the Daily Bread Soup Kitchen serves. They're feeding a nutritious hot meal each day between 10:30 and 12:30 to about 200 to 300 people 5 days a week. They serve soups, sandwiches, and coffee from their food van on Saturdays and Sundays. They also provide a sack meal to go for all 7 days a week. Behind them is the Castle Home Comfort Heating and Cooling entry, ranging from trucks to vans to trailers. Castle has served the community providing HVAC service for over 23 years. The employees and company help the community by supporting area events that include the Boys and Girls Club. And of course, they are proud Americans serving their community with red, white, and blue trucks. Always great to celebrate our country's great colors all year round. Following the Castle Home Comfort Heating and Cooling is the Alliance chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. They are riding with the Corvette Club of Illinois again this year. The organization is involved in historic preservation of patriotic endeavors, the DAR Good Citizen Award, the American History Awards, Junior American Citizens, and the naturalization ceremonies for new citizens. The DAR is for anyone who has an ancestor who participated in the American Revolution. They can also help trace your ancestry. Their motto is God, Home, and Country. Daughters of the American Revolution is a national organization with headquarters in Washington, D.C., featuring a large genealogy library and museum entirely owned by women. The DAR also does have an amazing choice in cars. Glad the Corvette Club of Illinois could help them out. After a busy last weekend at the Bloomington Gold Corvette Show, it's always good to have them in our streets for the Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade. Corvette Club is based out of Central Illinois with members of all ages from all over the state. Their goal is to support their community and have fun. They take part in local parades, such as ours, volunteer for local events, such as the Illinois Marathon, host an annual golf outing fundraiser to support club charity, Best Place, a shelter for women, and take frequent cruises, plus a layover trip each year. Their trip this year is to the Biltmore Mansion. The Illinois Corvette Club meets the first Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. at Sullivan Park Hill, and any Corvette owner is welcome. And we'd again like to take time to thank our platinum sponsors, Busey Bank, the Illinois Lottery, and the News Gazette. Following the Daughters of the American Revolution is our Champaign County Freedom Celebration Platinum Sponsor Float. Actually, I apologize, this is the Illinois Lottery Platinum Sponsor Float. They are, of course, celebrating the good old US of A in the festive red, white, and blue, an amazing star. This float, as well as the Sesame Street float from earlier, are actually designed and built by several volunteers in our community. Different volunteers and creative folks alike, all for the enjoyment of our fans and spectators. The CCFC is represented here by the shiny blue and red party float, with Uncle Sam and some of his friends. Uncle Sam is, of course, not actually Uncle Sam, but portrayed by Thomas Howie, a theater major from ISU. Following them up is the Heartland Pathways. Pathways bags and uses abandoned rail beds to pressure prairie habitats, provide trails on the ballast bed, and for possible re-railing. And behind them is the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. They are celebrating the Champaign County's 50th they've been the 50th anniversary here in Champaign. They are a volunteer community organization that seeks to protect constitutional rights in the local community. And when asked about one of their most fond memories of the Champaign County Freedom Celebration, they actually went back to 2012 and marching the parade in that incredible heat. Gotta imagine they're joining this weather a little bit more. Behind them is the Champaign County Bikes. Since 2006, the Champaign County Bikes has been dedicated to making Champaign County, Illinois, the most bicyclist-friendly county in the Midwest. Their very existence depicts the theme of community service because they are formed and have been maintained by 100% volunteer efforts. This year they are providing to the community free information on bicycle safety. Behind them is the Deb Finan for Mayor entry. Deb has served as a county board member and Champaign City Council member. Deb and her mother, Linda Frank, have appeared in numerous parades, including one year where they were in 4 in one day on the 4th. That is quite a lot of parades to partake in. Coming up behind them is, of course, the Reynolds Towing entry. showing off some of their larger towing automobiles. Reynolds Towing was started in 1980 with one tow truck by Greg Reynolds, and it's grown into a business employing 25 people and has over 50 different vehicles. They've been a great part of our community for a long, long time. Hopefully you haven't had to use them too much, but just know that they are there should you need their services. Coming up behind them is the Tom Gray for County Board entry. Tom Gray is a candidate for District 7 of Champaign County Board. And he is followed by his family celebrating our nation's birthday and a nice extended golf cart. Tom declared his candidacy last fall. And behind them is the Harmon family. Harmon family is showing a 1993 authentic military deuce and a half, purchased from the military in Wisconsin for everyone's enjoyment. Behind them is the Inman Place. Inman Place is the finest in senior living in downtown Champaign. Originally started out as the Inman Hotel in 1915. Following there, in their customary gear, the Champaign Fire Department. Of course, led by their own color guard. Leading the way is their old E1 1947 Hirsch fire engine. And of course, water guns putting out the heat waves of our spectators. Of course, following that up with one of their newer fire engines, an E154. And following that up is their ESST van. Thank you again for all the help you've been to our community. Following up Champaign Fire is the Knights of Columbus. The Knights of Columbus have been in almost all of our CCFC parades. And coming up behind them is Orange and Blue Distributing. That is, of course, the Orange Blue Distributing Miller High Life semi-truck. Saluting our soldiers and veterans. Following them up is Skip Thompson Reynolds. They are actually treating everyone in attendance to a live show from Candy Foster and the Shades of Blue. Playing a variety of funkadelic music to get everyone in the mood and celebrating on this July 4th. Definitely taking a look and listen to some great music from Candy Foster and the Shades of Blue.
All right. We got the veterans back here in the back. And we got a whole lot of stuff.
Behind them and coming to you now is the Owens Funeral Home, saluting our veterans. That's a 1946 Willys Jeep, restored by Jay and Jim Yost, found in Champaign in 1925. They are followed up by the Champaign County Historical Museum's 1919 Critter Popcorn Wagon. Perhaps the most well-known artifact in the museum's collection. This wagon has been providing popcorn for residents of Champaign-Urbana for more than 3 generations and continues to be used by the museum for special events, just like today. Following them up is another platinum sponsor, UC Bank, Cold Air Balloon, and friend of Ernie, the Cookie Monster. Nom 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 nom. The monster definitely enjoys cookies. His real name's actually Sydney. And this float is maneuvered by both UC employees as well as family members. Following up Cookie Monster is Huber's Tavern in a 1960s Silver Crown sprint car. Built in Indianapolis, Indiana, this is a street legal race car with headlights, taillights, turn signals, and horn. Don't know where it all fits, but it's all there somewhere. And following the roadsters, the Champaign County Democrats. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin is joining them as well. They are the oldest political party in the United States, with presidents including Jefferson, Jackson, Roosevelt, Truman, Clinton, and our current president, Barack Obama. We've seen Naomi Jacobson. Coming into view now is Carol Lamons and her friends and supporters. A second float from the Carol Lamons friends and family. Followed up by Ann Callis for Congress. And following them up, U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. As well as a truck for Mike Ferris. and supporters of Pat Quinn. And of course a van with all our friends of the Democratic Party. And following them up in another Reynolds towing vehicle is the Girl Scouts of Central Illinois. Their float is, of course, decorated by several troops in the area. The girls do an excellent job decorating, stand out. GSCI is, of course, a non-profit organization building girls of courage, confidence, and character since 1912. And behind them is the Holy Cross Pac 9 Boy Scouts. I apologize, Pac 9 Cub Scouts. This is their 10th year joining us in the Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade. They brought their super suckers to keep everyone nice and cool. Glad to have them. Behind them is the Bruce Rauner for Governor float entry. And behind them is the Chris Water Gardens Pond Crew. A flatbed truck decorated in red, white, and blue. Followed by another pickup truck bearing our country's great, great colors. And coming into view now is a mini ambulance with eyes, definitely driving itself through our parade route. Leading the way for its much bigger brother, the Presence Pro Ambulance. Presence Pro Ambulance was started by Burnham City Hospital in 1987. Over the past 27 years, it has merged to become part of the Civic Medical Center. This is their 26th year in our great parade. Behind them is the City of Urbana Arbor Division. They are responsible for the maintenance and planting of city-owned trees and green spaces, and for the operation of the Landscape Recycling Center. Following them is our next marching band entry from the Rantoul Township High School, the Marching Eagles. Taking the streets in their gold and purples. The color guard is featuring some red, white, and blue flags. Let's go ahead and take a break and give them a listen. Thanks again to the Rantoul Marching and Dancing Eagles. A very lively show for your entertainment. As they trail off to the sounds of great songs of our country, the Champaign-Urbana Theater Company comes into view. Their show this year is Mary Poppins. Their float is, of course, from their show. Beginning with its inception in 1991, the theater company is sought to be the premier theater resource in Central Illinois. After more than 20 years and 80 shows, this vision is alive and well, and their commitment to providing entertainment, education, and opportunities for involvement in all aspects of theatrical arts is very prevalent. Following them, standing up for Central Illinois, is State Representative Chad Hayes, handing out candy to the spectators. Followed by Rodney Davis, U.S. Congress. Greeting the Champaign-Urbana residents as they enjoy the 65th Champaign County Freedom Celebration. Coming into view is, of course, one of the most unique trucks or cars I personally have seen. His third year in the parade. He's representing the 13th Congressional District. And of course, as you can see, it looks like there is both a top and bottom to this car, and it is actually driving upside down. And coming behind them is the Champaign County Ambucks. Ambucks is, of course, a national charitable service organization consisting of a diverse group of men and women dedicated to creating mobility and independence for people with disabilities. Greater Champaign County chapter has been making a difference in Champaign County since 1981. You, of course, see a tow truck hauling a trailer, as well as an ATV hauling a keg train full of local youngsters. Coming into view now is also a flatbed truck from the Greater Champaign Ambucks. Coming into view now is a Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, an annual recreational 5K walk scheduled this year for Saturday, October 18th at Meadowbrook Park in Urbana. These parade participants are community volunteers who will be walking on the 18th to raise awareness about reducing the risk of breast cancer and to raise money for the American Cancer Society to support services and research. ACS, of course, just had Relay for Life not too long ago. Always a great event to come support all the members of your community. passing by are the ordinary people. Our country is built by and is united by its volunteers and everyday Americans who care about their communities. Following them up is County Clerk Gordy Hilton, of course urging all of Americans to take advantage of their right to vote, get out and register and vote. We, of course, also see another classic car entry into the parade. Thanks again to the Champaign County Clerk's Office. We'd also like to take advantage of this time to thank some of our bronze level supporters: AAA Storage, American Legion Post 71, Barbeck Communications. Coming into view now is the local Champaign County Home Depot, located just off of 74 in Champaign. Home Depot's mascot Homer riding along in the parade. Behind them is the Carroll Fire Department, showing off their engine 6151 and rescue 6175. We'd also like to thank Roran Russo Construction, Champaign County Tent, Davis Electric, English Brothers Company, Evans Freilich, Beth and Chamley, Hickory Point Bank and Trust. All bronze level sponsors. Behind them is Team Gauze Inc., Coldwell Banker Honig Bell. Coming into view behind them is the write-in candidate for Governor of Illinois, Mark Smith. Other bronze level sponsors include Hickory River Smokehouse, Hilton Garden Inn, Metrotech Incorporated, Papa John's Pizza, Trophy Time Incorporated, UA Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union Local 149, and of course Urbana Public Television, who you are of course watching this rebroadcast of the 65th Annual Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade. Behind them is GMO Studies. Coming into view now is the Ability SCS Incorporated, featuring water guns and a child's house. Saluting our veterans. And again, we'd like to take this time to thank our gold level sponsors: Carl, CUMTD, News Talk 1400 WDWSAM, Light Rock 97.5 FM, and Stevie J Broadcasting, which is ESPN 93.5, Sunny 95.3, WKIO 107.9, US Country 105.9, and Q96. Coming in view now is the Let Us Get Dirty For You, a local garden home service company that strives to help its clients achieve their to-do list. The team at Let Us Get Dirty For You enjoys collaborating to be the best gardeners and assistants for customers who are often busy professionals and seniors. Going green in several different shades. Coming up now is Progressive Democrats of America. They are a coalition of local organizations operating on volunteer labor to increase and ensure economic, social, and environmental justice and expansion of voting and human rights in Champaign County. Coming into view now is ChampaignMoms.com, of course the popular website that helps Champaign County residents find out exactly what's going on and the scoop on all events and happenings around the area. Happy to have them. And again, we'd also like to take this time to again thank our silver sponsors, Champaign Sales, Champaign Park District, Champaign Telephone Company, City of Champaign, City of Urbana, Flex and Gate, Kemper Industrial Midwest Potty House Incorporated, Reynolds Towing Service, Southern and Central Illinois Laborers and Employers, University of Illinois, Varsity Stripping and Construction Company, Village of Savoy, WICD TV, Warden Martin Incorporated. Coming into view now is the Champaign County Black Chamber of Commerce. Black Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit or not-for-profit organization that advocates, educates, and serves as a resource for and to the business community throughout the CU area. Coming into view now is the House Arrest 2 Championship Dance Team, who was founded to create an outlet for teens and adults to express themselves in a positive setting while engaging in the joys of entertainment and showmanship. Over the past 20 years, they have taken over several colleges and universities across the U.S. with their creative styles and authentic dance moves. And behind them is the Champaign County Fair Demo Derby cars. You can definitely tell these two have been in a battle and which one has won the battle. Again, the Champaign County Fair is going to be July 18th through 26th. The Demolition Derby will be on July 19th. They are followed up by the Champaign County Fair Fair Association. Which is followed up by the Little Gym of Champaign. Little Gym of Champaign teaches gymnastics, karate, dance, and sports skills for children ages 4 months to 12 years old. Their environment is fun, but their purpose is serious. And then backed up by the United Youth in Action. United Youth in Action exists to provide fun and affordable children's sports programs to local communities. Behind them is the Yellow Checker Cab Company, sporting both the traditional yellow cab as well as a green and cream variety checker cab. Good for transportation anywhere throughout the Champaign-Urbana area. They are followed up by the Edge Scott Fire Departments. Coming into view now is the Parkland College Institute of Aviation at the University of Illinois, showing, of course, a little airplane. The ones they teach you on are actually going to be much bigger and much more enjoyable. And they are, of course, followed up by our final entry of the day, our ending police escort. We'd again like to thank everybody for joining us for the 65th annual Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade. We hope you've enjoyed all the sights and sounds we've had to offer. Again, a big thank go out to our platinum sponsors, Busey Bank, Illinois Lottery, the North Star Lottery Group, the News Gazette, to all our gold sponsors, Carl, CUMTD, News Talk 1400 WDWSAM, Light Rock 97.5 FM, and Stevie J Broadcasting. Our silver sponsors, Benefit Planning Consultants, Chambana Sales, Champaign Park District, Champaign Telephone Company, City of Champaign-Urbana, City of Urbana, Flexingate, Kemper Industrial Midwest Potty House Incorporated, Reynolds Towing Service, Southern and Central Illinois Laborers and Employers, University of Illinois, Varsity Stripping Construction Co., Village of Savoy, WICD TV, and Warden Martin Incorporated. Again, my name is Colin DeCair, bringing you your bird's eye view of all the sights and sounds. We look forward and hope you had a wonderful 4th of July.